Welcome to News Today with Universal Parks News Today. I'm Tom Corliss. Here now the news for January 2nd, 2026. We have an update from Universal Orlando on the planned enhancements and temporary closure of the horror makeup show at Universal Studios Florida. The current show is now going to remain open. Additional details about the new horror makeup show will be shared at a later time, according to an official statement we received from Universal. So I was shocked because I haven't heard from anyone in Universal PR in years. They've been unwilling to speak to us, but I'm very glad they reached out. Of course, a source shared with us that the horror makeup show at USF was supposed to have its final show this month. A new version of the show would premiere later in the year, but Universal has now said that is no longer the plan at this time. The enhancements and closure are still planned to happen. There's no date or timeline now. But as originally was said in an email to Universal team members, Universal Orlando Resort is excited to debut a reimagined horror makeup show at Universal Studios Florida next year, featuring classic and modern horror properties along with shockingly fun surprises, all while staying true to the comedic and irreverent vibe that guests love. Personally, this is my absolute favorite thing in all of Universal Orlando Resort. I think it's such a throwback, but it's also such a perfect show. It's really well put together. The improv from the performers, no matter who is on that stage, is always exceptional. I love it so much. And so I know there were the rumors of the closure happened and people immediately thought, oh no, it's going away, we're going to lose it. And I just felt like this is one of those things that I think management here in Orlando will fight to keep forever. It's kind of like our Waterworld. Waterworld is a great show. Does it deserve to live given the property it's based on? No, but deserves to live just for what it means to the places where it exists. And that's similar for horror makeup, where the nice thing about horror makeup is because it's not tied to a single IP, there are great opportunities to update it, like what they're going to do now. And I hope the new show turns out great. I'm curious what the holdup is, what the delay might be, maybe just some budgets getting shifted around, things like that. That happens a lot in the theme park world. And we will wait and see when this materializes. But now you have a little extra time to go say goodbye. Fans are speculating that Stephen King's It could be presented at Halloween Horror Nights 2026 in some way. Stop me if you've heard this one before. The rumors are fueled by a recent Instagram post by user JPLand21, who noted that It has become one of the most recognizable horror franchises with recent renewed interest just recently due to It Welcome to Derry, the streaming series. The original horror novel by King was released in 1986. It was adapted in 1990 to a TV miniseries starring Tim Curry as Pennywise. A two-part film adaptation was released in 2017 and 2019, all connected to that Welcome to Derry series, which just premiered on streaming a couple months ago, and all starring Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise. A second season of the show is already in development. Universal has not made any announcements regarding Halloween Horror Nights 2026, but speculation season begins early for HHN. In fact, it sometimes begins before the last one's even over. So it is owned by Warner Brothers, but Universal frequently negotiates the use of IPs for HHN. There's been tons of them, like Stranger Things and Fallout, and on and on and on the list goes. There's so many of them through time. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you think this is finally the year. Now, I know Warner Brothers has been protective because they wanted to do their own things with the It franchise regarding, horror entertainment offerings in the physical world. And to me, it seems like that initiative has died down a bit, but they do have this hot property with the, I think the streaming series did really well. I saw a lot of people talking about it. I watched it. I thought it was great. So I would love to see it. Do I think it's going to be reality? I don't know. The interesting point that has to be brought up is we are approaching an anniversary year for Halloween Horror Nights, and anniversary years typically feature the most prominent main icon of HHN, which would be Jack the Clown. Now, Jack the Clown standing next to Pennywise from It might be a bit of brand confusion. It might be too many clowns for people in one year. That's the theory on the street. I tend to believe that makes sense. I believe you wouldn't want the two of those characters kind of side by side on advertising. I think there's ways that marketing could do it where they don't appear side by side and the event still is a huge success and people aren't confused about it. Let me know in the comments how you feel. I would love to see it. I was going to say I'd love to see it, but I'd love to see it at Halloween Horror Nights this year. And when are we getting Stranger Things this year, or do we have to wait till next year? I know sometimes there's a bit of lag, but I tend to think they have enough time between the series finale that just happened and this year. I would suspect we're getting that final Stranger Things house this year as well. But if it's Stranger Things, it and Jack and the other icons is going to be a fantastic year. The new snack kiosk in Universal Studios Florida, which we've been watching be erected, which replaces Expo Eats, now has a visible roof and shape. We previously saw the framework for the new kiosk through scrims. Construction began in this area in October. The walls are behind the face paint kiosk and run through the Central Park archway. The new kiosk is a few yards behind where Expo Eats used to be. It appears to be a square building with a gazebo-like overhang jutting out of the side. This would match a lot of the newer kiosks they've built the last several years around the Central Park area, including the crepe stand. Right now, the exterior is green, but it could be covered later. The new structure has small lattice work and filigree elements along the edge of its roof as well. We don't know yet what the snack kiosk will be offering, but Expo Eats formerly served popcorn, ices, sodas, and other small snacks. Could have those, could have more. We'll keep an eye out. The refurbished Harry Potter section of the Universal Studios store at Universal Studios Florida has reopened with a brighter color scheme. Curtains went up for the refurbishment project in December. The previously black walls have been painted white now, and the dark brown shelves now have a light wood finish. The flooring is the same faux wood as before. There's a mix of light gray and brown wood shelving units, and a column in the space was painted navy blue. A glass case in the corner that previously held more expensive merchandise and props has been replaced by a clothing rack. Some of the more themed elements, like a fake roof, have been removed as well. It seems like Universal is trying to standardize the design of the store so it'd be easier to move around merchandise. This space previously was heavily themed to Harry Potter, and so certain things had to go in certain places, etc. And I remember this being a really big deal when they were allowed to put the Harry Potter merchandise in the main stores at the Universal parks, and it being in the contract that the space had to be themed if it was going to happen. And I know originally, of course, J.K. Rowling was very protective of everything regarding Harry Potter when the deal was first struck. And it seemed like a faraway dream that they'd ever be allowed to sell Harry Potter merchandise in the front of the park or at City Walk. But they've had to build essentially heavily themed spaces in the past in order to get the approval to sell the merchandise in these places outside of the Wizarding World. I think as the money has rolled in and as the years have gone on, she's relaxed her input a bit, and at this point it's now, it doesn't have to be so serious anymore, which makes me sad because I like when creators are protective of their brand and feel the need for a certain level, certain standards be upheld. And I felt like with Harry Potter, that made a lot of sense. Similarly at Disney, when Avatar Land opened in Animal Kingdom, they had to sort of theme a section of the store in the front of the park to have the Avatar merchandise outside the land. Obviously, I'm a big fan of keeping the merchandise in the respective lands. Like Super Nintendo World stuff should be in Super Nintendo World. Wizarding World stuff should be in the Wizarding World. I believe that makes sense. Now, obviously, there's a business at stake, and they want you to buy stuff on your way in and out of these parks or in and out of City Walk. I totally understand that. And it was a breath of fresh air to see in these what have become very plain stores at all theme parks across the globe the last several years. Design has gotten very bland and very plain. It was nice to see these Harry Potter sections of the stores still looking thematic and interesting, and a call back to when shop spaces could have theme and story, or at least not just be a plain metal shelf against a white wall. So I'm sad to see them take some of the theme out of the space, but at the same time, I think it really is just so they can merchandise how they want on any given day. This program is brought to you by our official travel agent sponsor, Be Our Guests Vacations. Your dream vacation begins with Be Our Guests and their concierge team of expert vacation planners. Head on over to WDWNT.travel and their team will design your next epic vacation with tickets to Epic Universe and other Universal parks, to hotel reservations and more. And the best part is their concierge services are 100% free. That's right, so book today. Real quick, I want to mention other things going on at WDWNT as a whole. As you may have heard, we have launched 2 brand new channels. They are on the Disney side of things, but I know there's some crossover audience, so I'll mention these here. The new home for all of our POV content, that'd be rides, shows, vlogs, dining reviews, etc., is going to be WDWNT POV. That's the name of the channel, WDWNT POV. Please go subscribe, give us a watch there. And then what I'm most excited about is our new history channel, which is called The Parkive, and you can find that at Diz Parkive. And it is a made-up word we created. It's Parkhive. It's a theme park archive. And that is where we're going to share the history and the stories behind the places we love so much. And we're going to start with Disney content. I know there is a hunger for that on the Universal side as well. And certainly there are a number of former Imagineers out there who we are friends with who have stories to tell from their time at Universal. And we're going to see how things progress. And if there is an audience for it, we would love to do more of that content here on this channel for our Universal fans out there. So stay tuned for all that. But please, those two new channels have launched. Go subscribe right now to WDWNT POV and The Parkive. In our Christmas decorations post, we noticed a new mural near the recently refurbished restrooms at Islands of Adventure's port of entry, though it was obscured by both press pennies and fuel rod machines. Since our last walk around the park, these machines were moved, so the new mural is fully visible. Here's what it looked like before the move. The fuel rod machine has now been relocated to the other side of the restrooms near the water fountain. Meanwhile, the press penny machine has been moved further around the corner on the men's side, closer to the lockers. But the big news is this new mural. The mural features the park's icon, the Pharaoh's Lighthouse, in bright colors with an advertisement in French above translating to Islands of Adventure Grooming Water since 1999. The year is a reference to the opening of the park, while Eau de Toilette is a joke referencing the mural's location at the restrooms. Some of the mural replaces signage for the Honorable Who Now Plaza, a play on words that perhaps was deemed offensive, so that signage is now gone. We've seen this a lot at major theme parks, Disney and Universal, over the last couple of years. Play on words and things that could be offensive to certain cultures, this being Asian cultures, has been removed. The one I always talk about is at Disneyland and California Adventure, there was Loud Bang Fireworks, and the spelling was as if it was an Asian name. It was Loud Bangs Fireworks, and that went away a couple of years ago. So it does not surprise me that the Honorable Who Now Plaza has been removed. Renovation work on the bridge between Lost Continent and Seuss Landing appears to be nearly complete at Islands of Adventure. Thanks to an aerial photo from BioReconstruct, we can see the new wood plank paneling spans the length of the bridge as of the end of December. As reported in late November, the old planks on the bridge were removed and replaced with a paved reddish-brown material. The remnants of the paved bridge surface can be seen to the left of the metal edge of the bridge in the aerial image. These updates follow Universal's announcement that there will be construction activity in the Lost Continent. The rumors, of course, being that a new island is coming to Islands of Adventure, but not official just yet. But the work has begun. A colorful popcorn bucket featuring several fan-favorite Dr. Seuss characters has arrived in Seuss Landing at Islands of Adventure. The new Seuss Landing bucket is $15.25. The design of the bucket is specifically tailored to the land or island at the park. Several beloved Dr. Seuss characters are featured throughout the label, including Sam I Am, the Lorax, Thing 1, and Thing 2, and several others. And although the popcorn included with the initial purchase was colorful, suggesting some non-standard flavor, we found the popcorn was just salted popcorn. As with other popcorn buckets, refills are available for just $2.49. Can we get a bucket for every island at Islands of Adventure? That'd be great. Construction has begun in the back of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Ministry of Magic in Epic Universe, potentially the first signs of that expansion of the land. Aerial photos by BioReconstruct show the empty expansion pad behind Place Cachet. The space has no grass or foliage, of course, because it is an expansion pad. Usually, if you plan on using them soon, you never really you don't put sod down or anything, so not surprising. And they haven't put sod, I think, on any of the expansion pads in this park yet. But on the other side of a service road is room for another expansion next to Stardust Racers. There isn't much going on by the Harry Potter land, but a small construction project is underway at the back corner of Battle at the Ministry show building. Bio captured crew members working on a patch of land that has been partially cleared of grass. Black tarps supported by wood stakes create a rectangle across the land next to a backflow prevention assembly. Meanwhile, on the other side of the expansion pad, there are some spray-painted marks in the dirt and on the pavement. These red and orange lines are color-coded, likely for electrical and communication fiber, and could mean impending excavation. Though these aren't big changes to the area, it does indicate that something is going on, that work is starting, and perhaps that 150,000 square foot new building will be underway shortly. Of course, it's no secret Epic Universe needs more attraction capacity and needs it immediately, and that's why they're going to begin on this very, very soon. Work continues between Super Nintendo World and Celestial Park at Epic Universe as well. Again, BioReconstruct shared photos of the expansion pad being developed at Epic Universe. Crews began preparing this site next to Super Nintendo World earlier in December. There haven't been big changes to the space, but an excavator was moving dirt near the center. The space isn't a large expansion pad, so it wouldn't be a new portal. It could be a new attraction, but I'll tell you what we had heard originally was this plot was earmarked for a permanent event space. They ended up building a temporary tent to handle the grand opening festivities that was located just next to Stardust Racers. But the rumor was that this was the plot for that permanent event space for corporate buyouts and special events. The plot is on the south side of Super Nintendo World. It's behind the show building for Mario Kart, between Mario Kart and the Celestial Park shopping complex towards the front of the park and across from the bus loop. Again, the area lends itself not to a new portal. It really lends itself to an expansion, but really probably is just that special events building. But nothing has been announced at this time. Universal Destinations and Experiences and Wendover Housing Partners hosted a groundbreaking ceremony for their new affordable housing community, Catchlight Crossings, back in November of 2023. But now construction has begun on the Universal Affordable Housing project that will give back to the community where guests and team members live. Catchlight Crossings is a new 20-acre community in the International Drive area near Universal Orlando Resort. It'll feature 1,000 high-quality, affordable apartment homes, on-site amenities and services, retail and play areas, and easy access to transportation. We first reported on the affordable housing site when Universal partnered with Wendover and set aside that land back in 2021. In addition to the amenities listed, the community will include a tuition-free Bezos Academy preschool, educational opportunities in partnership with the University of Central Florida, medical offices, retail, community event space, and more. A transportation center with buses, rideshare, and employer shuttles will make access to area employers more convenient for residents. And Catchlight Crossings will also be near the proposed Sunshine Corridor, a new east-west rail line connecting Sunrail's main line to the Orlando International Airport and the Orange County Convention Center. The community is created through Universal's Housing for Tomorrow initiative, which aims to provide economically diverse housing options as part of our commitment to healthy communities and address the primary focus areas identified by our county leadership, and will provide innovative solutions to move our community forward for everyone. Catchlight Crossings will remain an affordable community in perpetuity and is open to anyone who meets specific income and resident requirements. The majority of the units, 75% of them, will be designated as affordable and reserved for households with income at or below 60% of the area's median income. Low-income housing tax credits are a component in financing the development of the community. Therefore, rents for those units will be set by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The first phase of Catchlight Crossings is expected to open in 2026. That does not have the usual fever of Universal construction projects. They're much faster at building rides than they are at building this project, I think, because I obviously another company's involved. But the rush does not seem on as it is with all the Universal rides being built currently and recently. You can support the entire team behind this show and others by joining the WDWNT Interglobe Society at patreon.com/WDWNT. Get access to exclusive content, discounted show and event tickets, and more. Special shout out to our WIGS members watching who make this show happen every week. For more information on these stories and more, head on over to universalparksnewstoday.com. If you're enjoying the show, be sure to like this video, subscribe to UPNT on YouTube for more great content. Also, click the bell for notifications and make sure you hit select all notifications so you never miss an episode of our show. For UPNT, this is Tom Corliss saying the future is whatever you make it, so make it a good one in 2026.